So the first section of our cardiovascular system unit is on blood. So some general characteristics of blood. The color will vary, but the color is always red. Now it varies depending on the oxygen content. Oxygen-rich blood will be bright scarlet red, where oxygen-poor blood will be a deep, darker red color. So then why are veins blue? This has to do with how different wavelengths of light are absorbed by the skin. The subcutaneous fat, that's that hypodermal layer, allows longer wavelengths of light to penetrate the skin, and shorter wavelengths, like blue, are reflected back. And so that's why when we look at veins through our skin especially, they appear to be blue. Some additional characteristics of blood. It is generally basic with a pH of 7.35 to about 7.45. It is much warmer than typical body temperature. Typical body temperature is 37 degrees Celsius or 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. Blood is 38 degrees Celsius or 101 degrees Fahrenheit. And that's so that it can help transport heat to locations or dissipate heat if the body needs to cool down. Overall, it's about 8% of total body weight. And on average, we have between 4 to 6 liters of blood in our bodies. The three main functions of blood are distribution, to transport substances such as oxygen, wastes, hormones, and heat. Regulation, to maintain the proper pH, to maintain a certain fluid volume within the body. And then protection, like preventing blood loss and preventing or fighting infection. Movement of blood. Blood is carried through the body in blood vessels, and we're said to have a closed circulatory system because our blood is contained within these blood vessels. Arteries are blood vessels that will always be carrying blood away from the heart. Arteries are largest the closer we are to the heart, and the further away we move from the heart, they get smaller and smaller. The smallest blood vessels are called arterioles. Almost all arteries carry oxygen-rich blood, and this oxygen-rich blood will be shown in diagrams as colored red. Veins will be carrying blood towards the heart. Same sort of deal, that the veins that are closest to the heart are the largest. Veins that are furthest from the heart will be the smallest, and those are called venules. Veins almost always will carry oxygen-poor blood, and in diagrams, oxygen-poor blood will be colored blue. So then we have capillaries. Capillaries are the tiniest blood vessels. They are functioning in gas exchange, and they will often be colored purple in diagrams. The different components of blood can actually be separated out from each other by using a centrifuge. When we put a blood sample in a centrifuge and it is spun at very high revolutions, the heavier parts of the blood will sink towards the bottom and the lighter parts will stay near the top, and we can actually see the different components, where we will have a top layer of plasma, which is about 55% of our blood. There'll be a middle buffy coat, which contains leukocytes and platelets, which is less than 1% of our blood. And then on the bottom, the heaviest part are the erythrocytes, and that makes up 45% of our blood. So once you centrifuge the blood, it goes from looking like a typical blood sample to actually being separated into the various components. So we can call, in general, the two parts of blood are liquid plasma and our formed elements or the cells. There are three different types of formed elements or cell components. Those would be the erythrocytes or the red blood cells, the leukocytes or the white blood cells, and the thrombocytes or the platelets.